Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend DG Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there. Hello, everyone. It's here. It's finally here. Daredevil Born Again, the TV series. And not only Lilith and I here to review it, but we also have special returning guest, Mr. Gregory Wright, among other things, former Daredevil writer. So
you mean dude, brah?
What?
You mean dude, brah?
Oh, dude, bro. Yeah, dude, bro. Gregory Wright is here. Hello, sir.
How you doing, man?
Nice. Yes, I'm so happy. Daredevil's finally back. All right, so I guess Earth. Do we want to get into the details of the episode set, or just like just first reactions? Because again, the show just ended 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I kind of knew. Again, this episode, we're just doing episode 1, and the first 5 minutes of episode 1, I was like, okay, we did that. I knew something like that was coming. I figured, and again, kids, spoilers. We're gonna spoil the crap out of this. So, I figured that death was gonna happen. Spoilers. 3, 2, 1. I figured it was gonna be Foggy or Karen because I don't know. Just they kept saying stuff like, we do something early on, and not a lot of people are gonna like it. Not a lot of people are gonna agree with it, but.
I knew it wasn't going to be Karen, though.
I don't know, though.
I love Foggy, so of course it has to be the character I love that dies. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, but, they killed Karen in the comics. And again...
Oh, don't worry. She's going to get hers, too.
I know. Well, sometimes they like the man pain, especially with a female lead, so...
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that, honestly. Not just yet. I think Heather's going to get it more than...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's going to suffer the most in that couples counseling. All right. Oh,
I love the title sequence. It gave me a little bit of Game of Thrones, honestly, in a good way. And then the title card is, of course, great as well, with the little city and I like the aesthetics of the show for sure.
Yeah, very somber music in the beginning, but our good friend and giant music fan Noel Tate is going to keep us updated. I was just messaging with him about the actual track list for each episode. So
TuneFind, my friend, TuneFind. That's the best website that I know of. If you are curious. I'm sure they probably have a playlist too. That's what all the cool shows do now.
I was looking. I don't know if it's just too early, but yeah. So I'll start posting that.
You'll probably see it in the morning. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's no most hipster Marvel show yet. Well, good. I'm into it.
It goes to Hawkeye. If I'm going to be real with you.
Oh, I don't know. All right. So, Greg, dude, bro, I'm interested in your opinion. You've written Daredevil, so what did you think?
Well, it's when you write the character, there's this part of you that goes, no, they're getting that part wrong, but I kind of got over that when they did the Netflix series, because, I'm not a big fan of when they change the characters around and they do, they don't cast them with somebody that looks sort of like them. It's like, casting Ben Urich the way they did. Great actor, but, I have Ben Urich in my head a different way. I always like writing him. And then, when they killed him in the original series, I didn't like that. So I kind of got over, they did a bunch of things that weren't the way I would have done them or I would have done it. So I didn't really come in with a lot of preconceived notions for Born Again, because I knew they weren't going to actually do Born Again. And I figured they were going to do some stuff that I wasn't thrilled with, taking out Foggy so early, but, the way that they shot the sequence, all sort of happy and stuff, I said, somebody's going to die here. It won't be Matt. I didn't think it would be Karen. I figured that they had more planned for her because they didn't do enough with Foggy. I never thought before. But they finally got him like looking like a real lawyer instead of he kind of had that goofy long hair thing that just did not work for me in the Netflix series. So I was hoping we'd get to see a bit more of Foggy before he went down. But once you kind of got past that, and things started getting going, there was some not so great CGI happening with some of the Daredevil fight, which I don't remember seeing stuff like that in the Netflix series. So I'm hoping that's just the beginning, that we won't see any more of that. And again, that's you just got to figure how does these characters survive these fights? I don't know.
Yeah, like that at the end of that first fight, Matt had like how many knives?
I know. I was like, wow. I mean, but I also, that you can't really tell because they didn't like do the typical, the guy takes off the costume and then we could see the damage. So I don't know how much of the costume was absorbing it, because he is wearing.
That's probably one of the
like an armor.
Suits. Yeah.
So it's kind of hard. It's it's one of those little detail things that when you're writing the character, you're paying attention to that. And when I was writing him, when I did write him when he had armor, but I also wrote him when he didn't have armor. So there, but he's a human. He's not, he's not he could take a lot of punishment, but not so much. But yeah, the first episode, I enjoyed it. It was nice to see, that the cast and that world back again after, I can't believe it was 10 years since we saw
the first season,
or at least that's what they say in the show. And, Vincent D'Onofrio, he's astonishing. It's like, wow, I don't know how anybody holds their own against that guy in a scene, because he is the Kingpin. He has
that presence. Yeah.
Yeah. He's so perfect. Even with the, the sort of the slimmed down version of him, I'm a big fan of hand acting. And, I always say, Harrison Ford is generally one of the best hand actors in the business. If you watch any of his movies, he's always doing things with his hands. But, D'Onofrio, he's another one. You watch him twitching his hands and his fingers as Kingpin, and you're like, okay, when's it going to boil out? When's it going to come out of there? So yeah, I was pretty happy with everything, and they didn't call. I don't think they called the guy Bullseye at the beginning, did they?
No. They only used the real name.
The suit gives us the implication, I guess. A lot to infer.
Yeah, because I love the little.
There like some circle on the glove or something. Yeah,
there was a little thing on the glove, and then But I love when he did the paperclip to open the door, and then he used it to hit the thing against the wall. And I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, because that was the same guy who played him in season 3. So yeah I'm pretty. Yeah, they never called him Bullseye, but yeah, it was.
And they even went out of their way to say Dex and not say Bullseye, I guess, too, when they were having the conversation in the cafe.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Or the diner, excuse me.
Did he even use his name? I thought,
Yeah, he
I thought they just called him Dex.
Yeah.
I thought, it's one of those things where it's like, I usually will watch him a couple times.
Yeah, I'm probably going to
watch I just watched him and then I dialed up. So I'm like, okay, it's kind of fresh in my mind, but, I'm still sort of digesting the, it.
Yeah, I was writing notes because I was just like, yeah, I'm like, these deserve a second watch through, but I mean, yeah, they announced, Foggy and Karen are coming back, and then within the first couple minutes, they kill off Foggy. I was like, ugh.
Well, I kind of figured they made a big stink about bringing Deborah and Wool back, so they wouldn't be killing Karen. That they still, like I said, I feel like they made it very explicit that they had some things to do with her, because a lot of people feel like she was very misused, and they were super excited. So,
well, yeah, I figured because since they didn't kill her, I mean, she will be coming back from San Francisco probably, which that's a little comic Easter egg, the whole San Francisco thing.
Where do you go? You're sick of New York in the Marvel universe, San Francisco.
So where I couldn't tell. They said Matt's not in Hell's Kitchen, so where is he?
I
don't. He wasn't in Queens. He wasn't in Staten. So that doesn't leave too many other places. It wasn't definitely wasn't in Manhattan proper. So.
Well, it's hard to tell because they don't always shoot it where.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just just from the general things, the places that they kind of mentioned.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know. I've never been to New York. I don't know it well, but there wasn't any like big landmarks or anything to tell, or
Yeah.
maybe they're keeping it vague.
Well, at the beginning there was the city shops that say New York. It's weird because I mean I've been in New York most of my life, and the city changes so much, and they shoot a lot of movies that are taking place in New York and Toronto or Cleveland. And you realize that, it's pretty, unless you're looking at the, specific landmarks, a lot of places kind of look like New York. I don't know, but they were at Josie's Bar. So that's in Hell's Kitchen. So, they like left a place that they were in a store. Well, no, it starts out, they are in Hell's Kitchen because they're in the storefront.
So that's, because that's probably the reason he leaves Hell's Kitchen, because that's where Foggy was killed. Yeah. But then even in that scene, they were starting introducing new cast, like Kirsten McDuffie's there, who becomes his new law partner a year later. Well, at some point within that year.
Oh, I mean, I was expecting a time jump, but not that quick, I guess.
A year?
Yeah, that's what it's
not that. I thought it would be a little bit more, but yeah.
And I guess there's like enough time has passed, but again, with any Marvel project anymore, I'm always waiting for like some reference to the snap. It's like, oh yeah, you were gone, you were snapped away for 5 years. You don't know this, and it's just. So,
I was surprised they did or was that in the second episode? They did reference,
Echo.
Echo. They referenced Echo. I was like, oh, I'm glad that they referenced Echo, and they referenced somewhere. They referenced the Punisher and there seemed like they referenced another.
What's I know in the first episode in the when they're sitting there in the diner or whatever, and Fisk says he tried to mentor someone, and he's like, and Matt's like, oh yeah, I heard.
Did she shoot you?
Shoot you in the head or something? Yeah.
Greatland, didn't he shoot you in the face? Yeah.
The youths. What can we say?
So I keep wondering about Kirsten McDuffie because first thing I saw, I thought of my friend Dwayne McDuffie, and I thought, I wonder if that's an Easter egg for him. But Dwayne really never wrote anything with Daredevil. He had nothing.
No, she was a pre-existing character. She was was it Mark Waid's run? I think. Yeah.
I wonder if Mark if Mark named her after Dwayne.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know if Mark knew Dwayne. At all. I mean, so many people did know him, but I don't know if Mark had because we frequently name characters after our
I mean, it could be. I don't know. I think it's spelled different, but it could.
No, it's spelled the same.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Well, the McDuffie part,
Yeah.
Kirsten's a little different than Dwayne.
Mm-hmm. And then I usually don't like when they switch stuff with characters from the comics to the stuff, but Heather Glenn, I like her, I think, better as a therapist than what was she, like a spoiled rich girl in the comics?
Yeah.
I do like that change. And then we get BB Urich, Ben Urich's daughter.
I like that. I was like, oh, they changed Ben. And I went, no, that's got to be the daughter or something. But I like that because it's not, the thing is, that when I was writing Daredevil, all the social media and stuff didn't exist. Mm-hmm. So, it's like, when Dan Chichester came back to write the Black Armor, he wasn't writing the character as he would have been back, in the 90s. He was writing him as he would be today. So there are, cell phones and other things exist in that story. So they kind of have to update stuff a little bit. And I kind of like that, because there was a lot of, podcasters and news people that's how they're doing stuff. You don't really have the beat reporter out there. So, and this was a little more, it was a little more modern than today, and it felt right. So I like that. I want to see where that's going to go.
Yeah, that's interesting. Especially, oh God, was it? No, I think that's the next episode where she meets Fisk. But
yeah, the second episode. Yeah.
It's like they're all kind of, it's all one.
That's why I took the notes. That's the major reason I took the notes. I'm like, it's all going to blend together for me. But
I like what they're doing, but with Vanessa, they're not making her passive. So
she's running. She's basically running to the the business.
I've always hated that about Vanessa, how she feels like a victim, but like now she feels like a partner to Fisk. I don't know. I like that change.
She felt like she was like really in control. Like I felt like she wants to sort of take over. I mean, she was reminding me of. I can't remember the name of the character in the Penguin. She basically steals the Penguin.
Sophia, yeah.
Sophia, yeah. And I was like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna, pull one of those where the two of them are at odds. And she was the best part of the Penguin, you know. And I loved the Penguin. I loved Colin Farrell was fantastic, but
she stole the show. Yeah,
Sophia, you know, I was like, wow, who is, you know, because I'd never seen that actress before, or at least I didn't think I had. I'd seen her at, you know, when she was just like some pretty girl in something. And I'm like, wow, she can deliver. You know, she was terrifying. And that's kind of how I feel about Vanessa, whoever's playing Vanessa in this. She's pretty scary.
Oh yeah. That first scene where she's talking to the heads of the families, and he walks in. You know, she doesn't say it, but you could just see she's like, oh, don't come in here. Don't come in here and f this up for me. No, come on.
That was pretty ballsy the way she talked to him.
Oh yeah.
You know, I was like, oh, you know, Gandolfini's son is in here.
Yes, yeah. What is it, Michael Gandolfini?
Michael Gandolfini. I was like, what? You know, so I'm trying to figure out, you know, what is they going to do with him exactly? Haven't quite figured out where because right now I'm like, yeah, your character doesn't need to be here. You know, but you know, they don't.
It's a protege, a deranged protege. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, I remember when they cast him, everyone was like, "Oh, is he going to be Kingpin's son? Because you know he has to be a gangster." And it's like, nope. I wonder. Oh God, I don't think he's not Muse, is he? Because I know they're bringing in Muse with the serial killer, but probably not him. It's probably that guy who came up. Oh God, is that it? Episode 2? But yeah. Here's my question: are we going to bring Bullseye back? Because we stuck him in prison for life without.
He's breaking out. He's so breaking out at either the mid-season finale or the season finale. We all know this.
Well, I thought there was something with else. You know, in one of the previews, I thought there was some footage of him in prison somewhere. I thought I saw. You know, I mean, it's hard to tell because you see, you know, they show you stuff and then it never shows up in the show.
Yeah, Marvel's kind of notorious for
cut. Disney, yeah.
You know, well, it's like, you know, you see the trailer, like, you know, the trailer for Rogue One. Was it Rogue One? And you know, where there's this great shot where this TIE fighter comes up, you know, on the tower and she's running out there, and it's never in the movie. I'm like, but that was the coolest shot I've ever seen. You know, for whatever reason, it didn't work. So I'm sure we've seen some footage and stuff that's not part of, you know, the show. I mean, because they talked about, they did a lot of reshoots. I'm like, okay, that's normal, but you know, you don't know what got taken out, you know, what got added in.
Yeah, I'm glad they went this direction because I don't know if it's true. I read somewhere the original take was like going to be more lighthearted, maybe even humorous, and it's like
I read that. It's like, wow, why would you do that? There was nothing humorous about, you know, Miller's Born Again, and that would have just ticked people off.
Well, that was the previous phases, tones and stuff too. So they were trying to make that blend, and that's why they had him in She-Hulk. And then they decided, no, we probably should give the fans what they actually want.
Yeah, he just didn't fit. I mean, he was fine, but he did not fit in She-Hulk. I was like, oh, you know, it's like, is She-Hulk going to show up in Born Again? You know, I mean, I wouldn't care if Jennifer Walters showed up. You know, because they could do something. They could do that seriously. But you know, you just, you know, it's one of those. I'm like, okay, good. They didn't jump the shark. So
yeah. And again, it's always hard to like squeeze her in because it's like we're doing very street level, and it's like you drop a Hulk in there all of a sudden. It's like, okay, that kind of.
No, well, you could do her as a lawyer. I mean, it would
just a lawyer. Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
As a lawyer showing up at some point, or I need your help. But then you got to resist the urge to suddenly have her Hulk out because, you know, there's just no way for her to Hulk out in a show like Daredevil and not be silly.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if we're ever going to see the original pilot, because this pilot was all new stuff, like all new script, new footage. This was like one of the ones that were extensively redone. I would be curious to see what the original pilot was.
My guess is you didn't have Karen Page and Foggy Nelson.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they said that. Yeah, that's so.
Because I had thought that I could have sworn that, you know, originally I was reading that that there was a whole bunch of stuff with the Kingpin purposely, you know, like working out and losing weight, and there was stuff with him recovering in the hospital. You know, just stuff you hear when they're doing it that you have no idea if it's true or not, because everybody on the internet just says stuff and people go, oh, it must be true. I read it. I heard it on Facebook.
That's always true. Yeah, I wondered if they threw that line in when he's like, oh, you know, he's like, oh, you're walking lighter, you know, you've lost weight. I wonder, I didn't know if they
definitely.
I just didn't know if they threw that in because D'Onofrio wasn't as big and stuff. You know, it was
They
just like,
definitely did because we
Well,
can't
that
trust the
I knew
audience.
that was intentional because they had. I remember they talked about he was going to be lighter. He was going to be working out. I'd read that was going to be an intentional thing. He wasn't going to be as big. So I mean, you have to throw that line out there. Otherwise, you know, people are like, why isn't the Kingpin the same?
He's still a pretty intimidating man, regardless.
Absolutely, but he's just not quite as huge as he. You know, I mean, D'Onofrio was never that big. You know, they had a fat suit and makeup on his face to make him bigger. But, you know, he still scares the crap out of me.
But just the way, like you were saying, like just the way he, like, you know, acts the hell out of every scene. Because, like, you see some of those interviews they did, you know, when he has his hair back and, you know, he's just being Vincent D'Onofrio. Seems like a completely different guy.
Yeah.
You almost don't recognize him.
Well, you know, acting.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a sign of a good actor. You're like, no, hey, that's not the same guy.
Well, I met Willem Dafoe once. I was at I think it was a friend of mine and I had gone to see the movie Napoleon with an orchestra, and he happened to be there with some friends, you know, and I almost didn't recognize him. And, you know, I came over and I said hello to him, and he was just the sweetest, nicest guy. And, you know, he wasn't making those faces that scare the shit out of you when he does stuff. And, you know, he offered me some peanuts.
Oh, wow.
And I just kept, I remember thinking, wow, you know, I can't believe, you know, what a nice guy Willem Dafoe is.
He's something of an actor himself.
Yeah, he's you know, I'm a bit of an actor myself. That's very good.
And then we got, I don't know the name of the character that retired police officer, I guess, is now like kind of, well, the investigator for the firm, but he knows Matt was Daredevil, so.
Yeah, is that a new character? Is that, right? I don't know. Was that character in any of the comics?
Oh, I can't remember. Like as I said, I can't remember if they called him up. I can't remember the name of the character, but
yeah, his name was Cherry. So he was like a cop. They were celebrating his retirement. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they needed somebody there who knew who Matt is, since, you know, Karen's out of town and Foggy's dead.
It's like we skipped forward. I'm like, he didn't turn him in for the sweet reward money. Okay, good on you.
Was there reward money? I mean, Daredevil dropped Bullseye off a roof after he killed a bunch of people. Were they just like, we're good. We didn't see nothing.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how he lived from that fall, because he hit head first.
Oh, did he hit head first?
Yeah, he did. And then I was like, oh, they killed him. And then he gets up. I'm like, oh.
Well, I know they were working on his back at the end of season 3. That was like the end credit scene of season 3. I didn't know if they did like the comics. Because in the comics, did they just graft adamantium to his back?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But of course, it couldn't have been adamantium at the time.
Yeah.
How about that?
Oh yeah, they didn't call it out, but yeah, now we can do adamantium. But so yeah, I mean, I guess that's how he survived, maybe, or who knows? Who knows how?
It's crazy. The actor actually directed some Luke Cage episodes. So
what, love?
The actor actually directed some Luke Cage episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just like Clark Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Interesting.
I hope we get more Bull. Well, we should, but yeah, I hope we get some more.
I hope Luke Cage comes to take the mayor of the city from Fisk, and that's how we end this whole thing. Just wrap it up.
I mean, it's like you could do anything. Cause I think they said they were talking about bringing Defenders back, some of the Defenders back, because well, they've already greenlit, you know, Daredevil season Born Again.
Yeah, they're working on it right now. It's in production, so it's super.
Yeah, I think they're starting filming,
Yeah, but I was kind of worried at first, like, about the aesthetics, like, the first couple of minutes, and then, like, it finally settled in, and then, like, the real actual cinematography kicked in. I thought the lighting, they had tons of interesting choices. Of course, they went a little overboard with the red, but it's Daredevil. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you texted me. What was it during the fight? You're like, man, this shaky cam's getting to me.
Well, that's the easiest way to, you know, do those fight scenes so that you can't tell that it's a stunt guy. And
it was pretty dark, yeah.
Stuff, you know, I mean, it's like, really, you guys, you know, threw in the smoke, and, you know, I honestly wasn't nearly as happy with that opening fight as I was with a lot of the fights in the original Netflix series. You know, there was that fight in the hallway and one of the episodes that was like went on for 10 minutes, and it was just so brutal. And this just, I don't know. It just, I couldn't see what was going on as well as I would have liked. You know, it's like there's stuff happening, and all of a sudden, oh, Daredevil's got like, you know, 5 different knives in him that I didn't see Bullseye throw. And wait, now Bullseye's got knives in him. I didn't really see that. You know,
I mean, I guess we needed it to be brutal.
He's not an artful dodger, some would say.
Oh.
Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, with the radar sensor, they'd be able to dodge some of those, but I guess, we needed it brutal for that first.
Well, not when you're close, and when you're up and close, you're not going to be able.
And he's probably a little somewhat disoriented, being such in the close quarters, too.
Yeah. And again, it hides the flaws, but again, you couldn't see the fight that well. I mean, it's a Daredevil show. What do you expect?
They're trying to make you feel like a part of it.
Oh, that was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Man. Took me a second. Then
Kevin's going to use that. Mark my words.
I do like that they did a pretty good job, with his hearing.
Oh, yeah.
You really, they did, you got to, as the audience member, you got to kind of hear how he was hearing things, and he would say things that about the, how he could hear stuff that, because one of those things it's hard in a comic to write that stuff. I thought Dan Chichester did a great job because he was constantly writing how Daredevil was perceiving everything. So when I wrote the character, I was trying to do some of that as well. So it was for me, it was noticeable in this, that he was using his hearing. And I liked how, there's a whole bunch of noise and he filtered through to, to listen to Foggy's conversation.
Yeah, on the phone. Yeah, and other times he's kind of how he tunes into certain noises.
Yeah, I think that's a really good bit to do that. Because it sort of brings it home. Because he really, the actor does a really good. Aside from covering up his British accent, I buy that he's blind.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I think they probably he probably went through some training, at least on that original series. That this is how a blind guy don't look at anything. And...
Yeah, he did mention that they did.
Either that or they blinded him. I don't know.
Oh, it's Disney. Who knows?
The Jamie Foxx method.
Oh jeez. What else do we get? Oh yeah.
So Kingpin actually, I like I said, when he was becoming mayor, he was they're setting that in motion. I got the signatures. I'm like, who voted for this guy? And then I remember,
Lilith, we're gonna make New York great again.
Well, and it's interesting because at the time that the story is written, right, where New York was kind of a cesspool. We needed a lot of cleaning up.
Oh yeah, and again, this isn't to any. Again, the writers might have made it social commentary on the current times, but again, in the comics, this was 9-10 years ago in the comics. So
yeah,
it is it used to be. There's no way a man like this could be elected into, and it seems to be happening quite a bit.
I think Fisk is better than a few of the most recent mayors in New York, to be quite honest. We love our mayor up here.
Oh,
it's every day. It's when you live in the city where this stuff is happening, every day the paper is some new thing, and they're like, well, I'm sure people still want me here. I'm like, they don't, and now we got Cuomo deciding I'm going to throw my hand into the ring. I'm like, oh no, please just go away. No. Can we just get somebody can just do the job? And
but he fixed a pothole, so that garnered a lot of affection.
I guess
that's the main thing.
Well, that was episode 2, but yes,
yeah. But yeah, you're talking about fixing Fisk, I don't know. I feel like I want a Kingpin show. It's just D'Onofrio just going around doing stuff, man.
Or again, he shows up on everybody else's show, because he showed up in Hawkeye, he showed up in Echo, so
yeah.
He's
holding the cinematic universe together, or the TV cinematic universe together here.
There you go.
It's like Tom Hiddleston's Loki. He was supposed to be a small part of the only one movie, and he was just so amazing. That he, and that he did get his own show. So why not have a Kingpin show? I'm sure I would watch it.
Most interesting Marvel Cinematic villain we've had so far, in my personal opinion. Most relatable, anyway, for the motivations and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think Disney's learned their lesson. They're like, yeah, we don't need to kill off every villain, because some of these villains catch on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could get a. We got a Penguin series. We could get a Wilson Fisk series.
No, you
it's good
very
for them.
easily, but you can't make him. You can't make him soft.
No, we need. Well, I mean, we had a golden age of bad guys you love to root for. So maybe we can get a return to that.
Well, I love writing the really nasty, horrible people.
Come on, Disney, make that series happen, and then get some consultants in there. Like Greg Wright and D.G. Chichester. Come on.
Well, you know what? I mean, what's funny is, Rob Liefeld had made some news complaining about him not being invited to the party for Deadpool, Wolverine, and pointing out that it's sad that the people that created these characters, their credit comes after like the production babies and the guy that
craft services guy, yeah.
And I thought, and he's right. They should be at the where's that credit. So when I was watching this, I was like, I wonder if they put it in a decent place. No, it's right there at the very end. And Stanley and Bill Everett, and then the special thanks. I'm like, they really belong, much further up. They should be at the front.
Yeah.
And you can't control it, but I was aggravated by that. And, of course, I didn't get a credit. So
the only thing I saw, I think it was after the first episode, it was a consulting producer was Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah. Well, he's right up front.
Oh,
okay. But I think he did something he actually worked on this, the rest of us, we just did stuff on the comics. So.
Well, that's what I said. All of these, I mean, they should have at least one comic writer in the room that at least to consult with.
Oh, they don't like that.
No, yeah, that's kind of been a no.
Then they can't make all the changes they want to make because we'd be just but that's not how we did it. So I understand why they don't do that. They want to do this. They've created a different version, and we would be like whining about it.
I mean, I know you can't do word for word, but it's like, haven't they learned yet with any of these superhero shows, movies? It's like the closer you stick to the source material, the better people like it.
Sometimes, but I got to say, when they did the Dark Knight Returns and they did the cartoon version of it, it just did not work for me at all. Mm-hmm. And I thought, part of it is they didn't do the art quite the same. And even when they did like the Long Halloween, I was like, wow, why doesn't this work when they stuck so close to it? I think the Watchmen stuff the cartoon did. But that's the thing. Some stuff, that works on the comic page doesn't necessarily translate.
Adaptation is tricky.
Yeah. It's like, I thought when they were going to do the Captain America movie, I thought, oh my God, how are they going to make this work? That costume's going to look ridiculous in real life. And they did. They made the costume ridiculous, and then it got changed.
They put it on Chris Evans, you see.
But they did a really good job. And Thor, like, how are you going to make Thor not be ridiculous? And they did.
Put it on Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, you put Chris Hemsworth in there. You take his shirt off. You're done. Okay.
Problem solved.
It is. You're like, well, that is definitely Thor.
I mean, that's the big message of Hollywood. Pretty people solve things. So.
Well, but Charlie Cox isn't pretty. And they he's not a pretty boy, and they've got him all gruff looking, so he looks like a guy that would be a lawyer. They don't, they didn't, he's just not the typical, and he's fantastic. I completely buy him as Daredevil over Ben Affleck and what was that guy, the first guy that played Daredevil, Rex.
Oh, Rex. Is it Rex? Rex
Smith?
Charlie would know. I'm disappointed in you, Phil.
Yeah, I know. Rex Smith. Yeah. From the Incredible Hulk movie. Yeah.
Oh, that was just,
just in the black suit. Yeah.
Well, but the funny thing is the black suit, they brought that, they used that black suit again, even in the Netflix series.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, this can work, just not with Rex Smith in it.
Yeah, all that stuff in what was that, like late 80s, early 90s? I think they were trying to spin off TV shows off the Incredible Hulk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but they didn't really. They hadn't figured out how to do it. Because you watch the Incredible Hulk now, and it's very campy and stuff. But at the time, I loved every second of it.
Oh yeah, very formulaic. It's like he has to change at least twice each episode. And
that's one of those sort of rules. I mean, it used to be a rule. When I first started coloring comics, is you had to color the characters their true colors. and they would say, well, but if we color them different, people won't know it's Captain America. And I remember thinking, are you serious? With that, who are they going to think it is? You know,
No man.
Because I remember coloring the Hulk in a dark color, and the editor saying, "Oh, well," I said, "It's dark and the Hulk's in shadow." Well, but they won't know it's the Hulk. I'm like, yes,
they don't trust the audience. It's a thing. Suits have a thing about that.
It's a thing. So you know, and that's why Hulk must change this many times in the show. Bill Bixby gets this much screen time. Lou Ferrigno gets this much screen time. But I loved that show. I loved Wonder Woman. You know, I used to love the old Batman. You know, I loved all that stuff. You know, but now they figured out how to make it feel like, oh, you know, these people could exist.
Yeah, I think some of the older stuff, they're like, oh, it's just children watching, and like we don't have to put it, no matter what, we don't have to put a ton of money into this. But then once they started making,
the kids grew up.
And then once they started making $1 billion, they're like, maybe we should put some time and effort into these.
Well, because hey, more than just the kids are going to watch.
Exactly. Them. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not, you know, because, you know, like Shazam, Captain Marvel was, you know, it just was a Saturday morning show. And then, you know, then you had, Mighty Isis that came after that.
I'm curious to see where this. I was wondering why they did a double header though, especially since they put it out so late. That's my one thing, because they have another double header in a couple episodes.
Episode 5 and 6, yeah, are together. Like I told you, I'm wondering, and again, shouldn't make any difference, but sometimes I don't think they like shows and movies running at the same time. So
they could have solved this and just made it a Hulu show.
Oh.
You would expect it to be a little more adult.
Yeah. Although I don't know, they made this a little adult. I heard a few F-bombs, I believe, and some salty language.
Well, but you know they've got Deadpool Wolverine sitting on the Disney Plus, True. You know, and that's.
Oh yeah, they're like, we made money with that. Yeah, the bad stuff.
You know, I mean, the original Deadpool is on there, and you know, I still remember people taking their children to see Deadpool after, you know, they said, "Don't take your children to see this movie," and then the kids are coming out, "Oh my God, what are they doing?" And I'm like, "Who told you not to take your kids?"
It's rated R.
You know, so they made that. Well, they made the Princess Bride version of Deadpool.
Oh yeah.
And it's hilarious, you know.
Tim and Fred Savage, yeah. What else was I gonna say? But yeah, I mean, a lot of setup in this, but again, it was good. And again, like I was saying, Lilith, yeah, I think I told you before. I think they're trying to get this show done before Thunderbolts comes out the first week of May. So,
maybe. Thunderbolts. I'm looking forward to that. It looks fun.
I know, but then they're probably like, second season's coming. Come on.
Well, you know, you hope that I'm sure that they're hoping that everybody likes it as much as they think they're going to like it. You know, so far I'm in.
Yeah, me too. And I saw like some of the early reviews before it came out. Like people, it seemed like the reviewers were liking it. So,
well, I mean, you know, you'd have to work pretty hard to ruin it because everybody liked the Daredevil series that was on Netflix.
Mm.
You know, the only thing that people didn't like from those things was the Power Man, Iron Fist.
Iron Fist, yeah.
And Power Man was good, but Iron Fist, you know, and it was just they cast the wrong actor. In that role.
And he's supposed to be this martial arts master, but he got his ass kicked like every episode.
It's just, you know, and then it was like, and I like the actor, but he was the wrong choice for that. But you know, most of the other, you know, that was the one show that, you know, I didn't like. You know, it took me a while to kind of get into Agatha and WandaVision. Because they were just so different. Once I started, okay, now I see what this is. I always have to kind of get over my preconceived notions. So the nice thing about Daredevil is I got over with the Netflix series, so I didn't have to say, well, but that's not how I would do it.
Does that take you out a lot of times if you're watching something like this and you're just like, since you worked on the character, you're just like, okay, I see what they're doing here. I like this. I wouldn't do this. And
only if it's done poorly, you know, because they changed a lot of stuff in all the Marvel movies. So, you know, and I worked on a lot of stuff like that. And a lot of the Winter Soldier is basically the Nick Fury versus S.H.I.E.L.D. Series that I worked on. And, you know, a lot of things are different, but they really did such a good job. You know, I mean, that's not my Nick Fury, but you know, how do you not love Samuel L. Jackson? You know, I mean, you know, because what other actor were they going to get to pop out at the end of Iron Man and go, well, my name's Nick Fury and I'm with the Avengers thing, and have people go, oh, that's going to be awesome. You know, nobody, you know, so you give Samuel L. Jackson and now you're in, you know. So yeah, it doesn't really take, for me, it doesn't, because they've done such a good job that I forget, you know, I think about, you know, when the first Toy Story movie came out and I went to see it because, oh, look, a full movie with, you know, computer generated imagery, you know, 3D imagery. And, you know, within moments, I'd forgotten to pay attention to the animation because the story grabbed me. And that's kind of how this stuff works for me. As long as it's good and it's engaging and it's holds my attention, I don't really think about, you know, how I would have done it as much as you know, because it's really good, you know, and unlike, you know, the Batman and Robin movie, that was just god awful. You just going, what the heck are you doing?
Almost killed the superhero movie. Yes.
No, you can't. You know, there's always going to be some. You know, somebody's going to come up with another good one here and there. You know, I mean, Chris Evans will be in, you know, some other one as another superhero. I mean, how many superheroes has he been? You know,
at least 2 Marvel ones. Yeah.
Well, he was 2 Marvel ones, and he was in Scott Pilgrim.
Mm-hmm.
He's done, like, there's some other ones. He seems like he's popped up in several of them.
Yeah, I think he's done a bunch of either superhero or science fiction-y stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so, you know, there's always, you know, somebody's always going to come up with, you know, who would have thought something like The Boys would be, you know, so successful. That one is really good.
Well, that's
but then you get Madam Web.
With the state of superheroes, you kind of, you know, you want that other side of the coin. It's just one of those things. I think
it's as long as it grabs a hold of you, you know. I mean, they're at the heart of it. They're people, and you need to be able to relate in some way, you know. So now we're all waiting for the new Superman movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, with Bader
See how that I watched Twisters the other night. And I was like, that guy looks like the new Superman, and you know, the David Corensweet's actually in that movie in a small role, but he's much smaller. He hadn't bulked himself up for Superman, so it was kind of weird to see. Like, oh, you have a career before you're Superman. That will all be over after that movie comes out.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm almost glad they did 2 episodes this first week. You know, because I would have been
I was definitely glad.
But again, it's just going to make it the first season end that much quicker. Again, how powerful would that have been if we had just done the 1 episode this week and the cliffhanger was, oh, wait, Wilson Fisk won. He's mayor of New York.
I wish they had, because, you know, after the first hour, I was like, yeah, I'm looking forward to next week, because I get really tired of being able to just binge everything.
Yeah.
I miss, you know, you have to wait, because then you get time to sort of think about it and digest and talk about it with your friends. And then when you get to see the episode, you're all excited. So here it's like, oh, well, we're just going to get to see the next episode. And it just sort of blurs together, because it did have a pretty nice, you know, cliffhanger ending. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it had the nerve to have a recap, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh, for the second episode?
I was just like, no, don't do that.
I think I kind of skipped it. There was some kind of Star Wars promo or commercial.
Yeah, there was an Andor promo.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad we all got the same.
They knew what they were doing. They knew there was going to be.
No, I'm paying money for this.
They knew there was going to be eyes on Daredevil, so they're like, yeah, what can we advertise? Here we go.
Yeah, because nobody's going to watch Andor.
Like, all the Star Wars nerds are like, did we really need this?
No, I'm like, I can't wait for it. I loved Andor, so I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Well, they're just praying for cross promotion. They're like, hey, Marvel fans, you should go watch this Star Wars stuff, and they probably do the vice versa. So it's like, hey.
Well, it's a heavy crossover.
That's what we were hoping when they did the Marvel movies, that, oh, this is going to make comics sell. Wrong.
Mm-mm.
You know, it ruined us, because people are like, oh, we'd rather see the movie.
Well, I mean, we've discussed this over and over. It's like, should they have like a commercial at the front, you know, along with the trailers, be like, hey, if you like this movie, go to a comic shop and pick up some books?
Wouldn't that be swell?
Mm-hmm.
It would be.
Or hey, you know, go. You could say the app, or you know, go to the comic shop and hey, pick up the story this movie's actually based on.
That would be nice, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a surprise, you know, because I love the movies, I love the TV shows, you know, even the silly cartoon shows I like.
Oh yeah, you said you liked your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, right?
I did. I was kind of on the fence with it the first couple episodes because I was, and I still don't understand why they drew Harry Osborn the way they drew him. He looks like a girl, and that wasn't, and he wasn't. It wasn't part of his thing. It's not like you're supposed to wonder one way or the other. He's definitely a dude. But the way they drew him and the way they colored him, I just, but once I got past that, I was like, oh, this is really good. They did, because all the fight scenes and all the character, and, I thought it was a very tight story. And by the time I was done, I was like, okay, yeah, this was really, really good. But, why change everybody? Although it was kind of funny. Here's the universe where almost everyone's black except for Peter Parker. I'm like, I wonder why they did that. But, I didn't really notice it until I was done. Oh, that's interesting. The animation that was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Not as cool as the Into the Spider-Verse stuff, which just completely blows my mind.
I know. When's that next movie coming out?
2030 never.
20.
No, Sony, they want their money. I'm assuming it's gonna be 20. I think we said 2026. I think they said.
Because I just remember going to the movies. I warned my son. I'm like, it's a part 1, so there's gonna be a cliffhanger. But then the end still came. And he's like, what? He's like, what?
Well, that's what I mean. Everybody, even though they kept telling people, Wicked, it's just part 1, but because it was so long, like, what do you mean? We have to wait to see it. I'm like, yeah, they only told you that forever. But I think they did a great job with Wicked. So,
yeah.
I don't know. There's just like, I don't know. A lot of people don't have, I don't know if it's like, what would you call that? Media literacy or whatever. You can tell people anything about your product, and there's still people who are like, wait, what? It's a part 1? I didn't know it was continued or something.
Well, people aren't really listening. Everybody wants to talk, but nobody really wants to listen when people tell you stuff. And they're getting, and people get all their information from, some idiot on Facebook, making stuff up. Well, you think about it, it's like, you hear a news story, try to find, an accurate, the facts. It's hard.
Not sponsored, but everybody should use ground.
You can put up anything and, put anything up on Facebook. And again, unless someone fights you on it, like, hey, that's not true. They might not pull it down.
Oh, they still
that joke we had? What was that place that we were like, oh, it sounds too good to be true. We know what was it? They were always posting the stuff about the Arrowverse.
Oh yeah. They're one of those clickbait sites. They throw something up, and of course it wasn't true.
They get us at least once a month.
Yeah, and it was just something about like TV shows or comics or something. And again, if one of us forgot, and the other one would be like, yeah, look what website publish that and be like,
I fall for that stuff all the time. I go, what is this? And I'm like, oh man, they got me again.
It seems like the best thing to do is to verify, like if it's something big, especially like a movie or something.
I would have a Google alert for it. So.
See if more than one site's publishing it, and if some of the sites are ones you've actually heard of before. Yeah, that's a big problem these days. Nobody tries to verify. They just see a story they want it to be true, and they're like, oh, that's true.
Because everybody poo-poos legacy media. We still needed a little bit. I'm just saying, just a little bit.
Well, that's how come I started writing these essays on my Facebook page, because all these people are saying, well, this is how the comics industry works. I'm like, no, it doesn't. And I got so pissed. I said, no, you're all full of shit. None of you know what you're talking about. Here's how things work when you work in a comic on corporate comics. And I thought, oh, nobody's going to like this. And everybody seemed to enjoy going, oh.
It seems so secretive. So, yeah.
Well, because, we didn't. Today everything is reported every which way, but when I was on staff, nobody knew what we were doing. They just want, the editors suck. Well, we're trying desperately to put a book out, and you guys don't turn your shit in on time. It's like right now, there was kind of interesting. Somebody was complaining about, well, how come you don't get artists on a monthly book to stick around and stuff? And I had pointed out, well, they don't really take doing monthly comics seriously. And, oh, no, I take my work very seriously. You take earning a living seriously, which is why you're at the conventions and you're doing commissions and you're doing covers. To do monthly comics is a lot more work. And people aren't taking that seriously. But the other thing is people are now putting so much more detail into the artwork. It's almost not physically possible to do it. on a monthly basis, because if Eric Larson had posted a thing that was kind of neat. He posted the way a boots used to be drawn. It was just a simple boot. Now today, every single lace and rivet and thing is on every boot and every glove. I mean, that stuff takes forever to draw. And, when artists started doing that, fans liked it. So now it's sort of this expected thing. You're expected to do way more work, but you're still being paid what you might have been paid 20 years ago for a page.
Yeah.
So it's, I understand why you got to do that stuff, but you're still not taking the monthly gig seriously, because that's what people wanted. They wanted that monthly comic book run. And, they wanted to do 2 years on the X-Men, 3 years on Spider-Man. But, the stuff was simpler to do. And, today you can make, and you frankly, we were paid more per, compared to the cost of living than we are now.
Oh yeah. I think Dan said for Black Armor, he got the same rate he got in the 90s.
Yeah, no, when I work for the major comic companies, my rate is the same rate I had 25 years ago. It really hasn't gone up, and I'm expected to do more on it, because that's just the way it is. And you say, well, so you go, oh, well, they're exploiting you. No, I signed up for it. I said I'd do it. I could quit. I could say no, but it's just it is what it is. The comics aren't selling as many copies. They don't have the kind of money that they used to toss at us. Most of the books I worked on, that got canceled were selling 45,000 copies a month. They'd love to have those numbers today. But back then, no, if it's not selling over 100,000, we don't really want to publish it. I get it. They wanted to get the most bang for their buck.
Mm-hmm.
It is a business. Which is why, they forced me to put characters in stories I didn't want to put in. Can you put the Punisher in this one again?
I'm curious
Sure.
whether they're planning on using Muse. I hope it's an interesting storyline and not just like a basic bland serial killer storyline. So
I have pretty good faith that they're not going to mess this up. Especially, when you read that the actors kind of pushed back and they changed some stuff to make it better. I have a lot of faith that they're going to do a good job with this. So far, there's nothing that's I'm groaning about. Maybe a little bit of the CG on the beginning of that, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's pretty minor compared to what you could be groaning.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, you mentioned the villains, though. It's like that was probably my biggest problem with Iron Fist. Like season 2, they used Typhoid Mary. I'm like, why are we wasting Typhoid Mary on Iron Fist? Why aren't we saving her for something Daredevil?
Because they kind of knew the writing was on the wall. Honestly,
I guess,
at
but
that point, yeah.
Well, they didn't know who to use.
You think you have a cool idea. It's idea. What is it? It's like execution. But
yeah. Well, again, they don't have any of the comic book people in the room to say that's a stupid fucking idea. They don't want to hear that. No, but we want to use this. We've decided to use this character, but you're not even using them correctly. I hope Ann Nocenti got some money for that.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't even remember Typhoid Mary being in there now. That's how bad a job they did with it.
Yeah, it was season 2, and it was weird. So, yeah, but I'm sure you blocked out of your mind.
A lot of people checked out on season 2 at that point, because the writing was on the wall for the Defenders universe on Netflix. Like the news had come down and stuff. So
it was too bad because without Iron Fist, because Jessica Jones was fantastic, and I thought Luke Cage was great. I was really shocked, that. They really nailed Luke Cage. Mike Coulter was great. And they somehow they did that little callback to the silly yellow shirt and the chains, and then move forward. So it worked. But he was great in that show. So I'm really hoping that they bring him because both he and Kristen Ritter fit in the Daredevil universe really nicely.
Yeah, Mike Coulter's show wrapped the show that he was working on. So he's free.
Well, there's the next season of Luke Cage, man. Him and Wilson Fisk running against each other for mayor.
There you go.
Although, like Lil said, they ended that show on a cliffhanger, so I don't guess you'd have to tie that up somehow.
could just move forward. I mean,
Right.
I think this also kind of gave me the Brave New World vibes, where it's like, well, if you didn't catch up beforehand, you're tough out of luck here. You're just gonna have to catch up later, because we're going full steam ahead on this one.
Well, what I think they did a good job with here is if you never saw the Netflix series, you were fine.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's really important. You know, Tom DeFalco used to say to us, you know, every comic is somebody's first comic. And if they don't get it, they're not going to read anymore. So it would, you know, you had to make it make sense for the new reader. And that's something I don't, every time I read a comic today, it's like, if I get in the middle of a story, I'm like, what the hell is going on?
They try to give you like a quick like text page in the beginning or something. But
we got rid of yellow boxes for the most part, and that's what's wrong with the comic industry.
Editor's notes. That's my big thing. Editor's notes. Where the hell did editor's notes go?
They think they interrupt the story. Sometimes they were terrible, but sometimes they were sort of necessary. But I remember I wrote a story and the editor put all these notes in, and I'm like, what are you doing? This was not necessary. I explained this in the text. You know, Frank Miller very famously, when he was doing Daredevil, he hated that box that ran across the top explaining who Daredevil was. And he said, I would like to get rid of that. I will put that information in my story, but I'll do it in a way that works. And he did it. And, you know, and then they came back, because I just, you know, it's like, I always sort of went, I think you should figure out who the character is in the story. You should know who they are in the first couple pages. It should be pretty obvious. You know, which became very easy after, you know, Miller started doing, you know, the caption boxes with the character's thoughts, you know, and, you know, you start out Punisher's War Journal, you know, my war against crime, you know, and it's like, okay, we've done it. And, you know, now I read some of that stuff, I go, oh my God, how many times did I write that same stupid stuff in those caption boxes? You know, and do people really?
It becomes endearing as a reader. It's just like one of those things that, like, when it goes away, you just kind of miss. But, you know, we're old stodgies, nostalgic.
Yeah, I mean, we're all older readers, but too, I guess maybe these days, you know, if you have Iron Man, you know, people are like, oh, well, people know Iron Man from the movies. You know, we don't know who Iron Man is. Yeah, now.
Yeah, but the comic book version's not the same.
I know. Oh, sometimes they try to twist some of those characters into the movie version. It's like, it doesn't.
You know, it was fun when Marvel had the Red Hulk and the female Thor, the Black Captain America. And, you know, people are watching the Avengers movie and they're like, they go buy a Marvel comic and none of the characters and the female, the black girl who was Iron Man at the time, and none of the characters were the characters from the movie. It's like, good timing, guys.
Yeah, that corporate synergy was a tad bit off.
Yeah,
well, like you said, it don't sell books anyway, so it's like.
I thought the stories were good, but it's like, you know, it just was weird timing. You know, like when those movies came out, you probably should have had the regular characters in place,
or it like takes away like some of the cliffhanger of it all when like they kill off a character and it's like, oh well, they have a movie coming up, and you're like, okay, well, they're bringing them back by the time the movie comes out. Yeah.
But now they kill characters in the movies and they live in the comics.
What?
That's the main thing with this show. It's called Born Again, but they very specifically like, hey, we're not actually. They literally said like we're not actually adapting that storyline.
Yeah, but a reason for that is, I mean, they used a lot of Frank Miller's Born Again in season 3 at Daredevil, so it's like
they were just like, I mean, every single interview at the beginning, we're using the title, but we're not adapting.
Wow. We'll see if Foggy Nelson comes back as some kind of weird cyborg.
Oh, the Greg Wright of it all. Yes.
Can you imagine? I make this joke. Crap. Foggy came back as a villain and as a robot.
They'll give him a whole Winter Soldier twist. He wasn't really dead.
Well, that's how we did everything at Marvel. It's like, you killed somebody off and then next thing you know, somebody brings him back. It's like, oh, man. How could he not be actually dead, you know?
The Coulson of it all.
Well, this story didn't really happen. Okay.
It's a
it's a what if, and they don't tell us until the end of the season.
It's the Bob Newhart show. You know, somebody woke up. It was just a dream. You know, and,
I see a shower scene towards the end of the last episode.
Oh, you at Dallas? Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be upset.
I fell for that stuff when I saw that the first time. If I'm enjoying the show, I'll fall for all kind of stuff. And later, I'm like, But that's you know, that's how you know something's good. You know, if I'm going, yeah, I know where this is going. I'm kind of giving up on it. You know, so I was like, okay, someone's going to die at the beginning of this. You know, plus in the previews, like, you know, he stops being Daredevil. Okay, so somebody dies, one of his friends. So, you know, I wish they wouldn't have told us as that all that stuff.
See, I don't do the trailers or anything like that, but I just knew like the music, when you've watched TV for as long, it's like the cues are there. The cues are there.
Oh, look, it's the death music.
Everybody's too happy. This is a Daredevil show.
Oh, and it's got some of Foggy's theme, so it must be Foggy going to die.
Oh, he's flirting with a girl. Oh, he's definitely getting it.
Yeah, Foggy's finally having luck with a girl. Oh, he's dead.
But was he really having any luck?
What could have been? All right. So should we give our final thoughts, wrap this one up, and then come back and do episode 2?
Yes, I'll give it a solid B+.
Ooh, B+. Nice.
B as in bullseye. They kill Foggy. You could never get an A. They kill Foggy.
That's true.
Well, they didn't kill any dogs, so.
Yes. Oh, she would have been worse if they killed the dog. All right, sir. All right, what's your grade, dude?
I'm gonna give it a B+ as well. You know, I was pretty happy with it. You know, the Foggy part I don't ding it for. I sort of ding it for a little bit of poor CGI, and I can't see the fight as good as I would like to see it.
Yeah, Disney. A lot of us are old. Come on, light those fight scenes a little better.
I know, right? It's too dark.
At least I could hear everything. Some of those shows, you can't hear the dialogue unless you crank it up. But
captions, my friend.
I know. Sometimes I put the captions on so I can, because some of it's like garbly. I mean, not on this show, but just some movies. It's like, what are you doing with the sound here?
Yeah, it's like the sound
design was great on this one.
Yeah, I can hear everything. All right. I guess I'll bow to peer pressure. Give it a B+ also. I think you could have got an A if again they're setting up a lot of stuff, but wanted more of him in this suit. But yeah,
because we'll talk about that.
Yes. All right. So yeah, kids, if you're watching this on YouTube, yeah, both of these will go up around the same time. If you're listening to this on the podcast, yeah, episode 2 will drop tomorrow. So, but we're about to go record that. So, all right. And again, thank you, Mr. Greg Wright, for joining us and
it's a pleasure.
Giving us filling us with your wisdom. Promote. What would you like to promote?
What?
Would you like to promote anything or social media?
I'm working on right now. While we were chatting, I was kind of working on Graham Nolan's Escape from Monster Island. So that'll be coming out. That's the one thing I can tell you what I'm working on. Because that's on a Kickstarter right now. So please go check that out. His stuff is a lot of fun. And then I can't tell you about the 2 secret projects.
Yeah, it seems to be success in the comic business. I know a lot of people we talk to are like, I can't talk about that one yet. I can't talk about that yet. So that seems like a good sign that work is flowing in. So,
well, it's some stuff just takes longer to do.
Yeah, like you said, it takes a long time to release. Yeah.
Companies don't like to announce because I've had projects I was supposedly doing announced and then they never came out. And so I've been talking about that project. Whatever happened to that project you were doing with Jim Lee? I can't talk. It didn't come out. It didn't get finished. A little thing called the X-Men and Image Comics got in the way. And we don't know what happened to all the inked pages.
Oh wow!
In somebody's house.
We really don't know. You'd think they would have popped up somewhere for sale or something, but apparently Marvel doesn't have them. Jim doesn't have them.
Sitting in somebody's basement.
No, we have some Xeroxes of some really sweet pages that Jim Lee penciled and inked, and that's pretty much it.
Wow.
Sad.
All right. And again, kids, we're going to do this every week. So, send us your thoughts on Daredevil Born Again, capesandlunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. Buy our merch on TeePublic and Spring. Got a Cash App link if you just want to send money, and our Patreon where you get exclusive episodes every month. Patreon.com/capesandlunatics. And you can catch me a little... What?
Capes Plus.
Oh, yeah, Capes Plus. Yeah, it's the new hot Well, it's not an app, but pretend it is kids. All right. So, yeah, you can catch me and Lilith and Capes Lunatics Podcast Network on Blue Sky. So check us out there.
Let us know if you're skeeting live.
bring back the live, too. Well, not the live tweet, but the live skeet. Yeah. All right. All right, kids. Thank you for joining us. And again, come back again. Episode 2 is going to go up right away here. So go watch the show and come back. Again, if you want feedback, send us your thoughts. Write in demand more Greg Wright. Don't worry, you don't have to write in. You're getting more Greg Wright. So. All right. So yeah, on the podcast, episode 2 tomorrow. YouTube, it'll already be up. Again, doing this every week. Weekly W Know. And if anyone from the writer's room or anyone who works on the show wants to talk to us.
Production, costuming, music.
What?
Photography, lighting, whatever.
Yes, anyone working on the show. Yeah, capeslunaticx@gmail.com. Let me know. So you pick your brain. All right. Thank you for joining us. Next episode. Remember, it's better to be with the W know than W know.